I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Dallas Center Grimes School Board to order. Roll call, please, Ms. Wehrman.
Director Baker Curtis.
Here.
Director Dickinson.
Here.
Director Fiala.
Here.
Director Malmberg.
Here.
Director Carpenter.
Here.
Director McNace.
Here.
Director Vandervelde.
Here.
I'll acknowledge a quorum. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is anyone registered to speak, Ms. Wehrman?
No one is registered.
All right, move along to item 4, the approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, McNace.
Second, Malmberg.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Moving along to minutes, we've got 2 sets of minutes to review from October 27th and the special meeting on October 16th. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Dickinson. Second, Baker Curtis.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Item 6, old business. We've got new policies, administrative updates, and IASB primers, along with annual mandatory review with no changes and 1 rescind. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Dickinson.
Second, Fiala.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. All right, item 7. This is accept into record the canvass of election results. Ms. Wehrmuth will now read the results of the election into the record.
In the school board election held November 4th, 2025, the following results are reported. For the office of Director at Large, there were 1,985 votes cast as follows. Julie Quant received 1,264 votes, William Rubel received 713 votes, and there was a scattering of 8 votes. Julie Quant is elected for a 4-year term. For the office of Director District Number 1, there were 524 votes cast as follows. Nick Fiala received 511 votes, and there was a scattering of 13 votes. Nick Fiala is elected to a 4-year term. For the office of Director District 2, there were 650 votes cast as follows. Monica Malmberg received 631 votes, and there was a scattering of 19 votes. Monica Malmberg is elected for a 4-year term. For the public measure DG, an $88 million general obligation bond, there were 2,911 votes cast as follows. 2,163 votes in favor, 748 votes opposed. The measure passes with 74.9% support.
Looking for a motion.
Move to accept, Baker Curtis. Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. All right, before we move on to item 8, Brandon, we just wanted to tell you thanks for your 4 years of service. We appreciate all the work and time that you've put into DCG, and we'll certainly miss you. But thank you, Dr. Bloom.
Yep, and I just want to echo the same thing. You know, appreciate all you've done for teachers and staff and just the support of the district overall. So appreciate what you've done. You've left it in a better place, and we're grateful for you. And I get to give you the lifetime pass. You can come.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, I know. You can come. I don't know if you heard me. The lifetime pass is for board meetings. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I'm in.
It's not activities. You can sit back there. So, want to give you this. If you wouldn't mind stepping up and taking a picture with Ryan and I.
Yep.
We just we appreciate everything, man. So thanks so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you so much. Someone's really excited about this.
Make sure that we're not in this like photo bombing back here.
Thank you. Wait, if you come to Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Let's go. Take that souvenir.
Hey.
Take this before you sell it.
Look, you just got voted off the island.
Bye, Brandon.
I'll stay just to make sure that it's all taken.
All right.
It's like on Survivor.
How quickly it changes.
All right, move on to item 8, swear in new board members and give the oath of office. We'll like to call Ms. Quant up, and Michelle will swear you in. And, oh, sorry, yes, yeah, Monica and Nick as well, yep.
You wanna just stand out here? So that AJ gets perfect pictures?
She didn't hear you.
I'm gonna do them all at once. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Director of the Dallas Center Grimes Community School District as now or hereafter required by law? Please respond by saying, "I will." I will. Thank you. You're duly elected.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good to be back.
Okay, we'll move along to item 9, and would just the legacy board members please participate in that motion? Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, Baker Curtis.
Second, Vandervelden.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned. like to call the regular meeting of the Dallas Center Grimes School Board to order. Roll call, please, Ms. Wearmouth.
Director Baker Curtis.
Here.
Director Dickinson.
Here.
Director Fiala.
Here.
Director Malmberg.
Here.
Director Carpenter.
Here.
Director Quant.
Here.
Director Vandervelden.
Here.
I'll acknowledge a quorum. Moving along to item 3, receive visitors. Anyone registered to speak?
No one registered to speak.
Okay. Approval of agenda. Any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes.
Looking for a motion.
Move to approve Vandervelden.
Second, Baker Curtis.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Item 5, appoint a temporary chairperson. Last couple of years, we've appointed the superintendent. If that's okay, looking for a motion to appoint Dr. Bloom as the temporary chairperson.
Motion to approve, Malmberg. Second, Vandervelden.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Dr. Bloom, you are in charge.
All right, scary. As pro tem, I call for nominations for president of the DCG board. If only one person is nominated, a motion may be made calling for unanimous ballot with approval by a unanimous voice vote. If there is not unanimous voice vote or there is more than one nomination, the voting will be done by ballot. So at this time, I will be taking nominations for board president.
Nominate Ryan Carpenter.
Okay, there's one nomination for Ryan.
I would second that nomination.
Yeah. Are there any other nominations for board president? Okay. Seeing none, we can do a voice vote. So all those in favor of Ryan Carpenter as board president, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, congratulations, Ryan. Ms. Warmouth, will you give the oath of office, please, to Mr. Carpenter?
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of School Board President of the Dallas Center Grimes Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
I will.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, I'm no longer in charge. You have to take it over. That was fun while it lasted.
All right, we'll move along to item 7, elect the vice president, give the oath of office. The same rules are enforced that Dr. Bloom just read. I won't read them again. Looking for a nominee for vice president.
I nominate Monica Malmberg.
Any
I
other?
second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Seeing none, we can move to a voice vote. All those in favor of electing Monica Malmberg as vice president, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Ms. Wearmouth will now administer the oath of office.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of School Board Vice President of the Dallas Center Grimes Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
I will.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all very much. We'll move along to item 8, the presentation of bills. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Baker Curtis.
Second, Malmberg.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Move along to item 9, the consent agenda. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve Vandervelden.
Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion?
In the open enrollment numbers, there are 7 kindergartners coming next year, and that's super duper exciting. I'm hopeful that maybe we can have some more conversations about, where these kiddos might end up, question mark. So, very, very exciting, hopeful for more discussion as we come up into the next school year.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Any other discussion? I just wanted to call out one thing, those that don't read the agenda. Somebody made a $10,000 anonymous donation to FOFA. It's going to fund a couple of things. So anyway, very generous, and whoever that person is, just wanted to say thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Reports, any questions on the written reports? Seeing none, we'll move along to building level reports. Transportation Director Jeff Wolf's here to present this evening.
Thank you. We're going to talk about school bus eligibility tonight. And we're going to talk about our current policy, and we're going to talk about how eligibility will change over the next few years, given our current policy. And we're going to talk, and I'm going to give you a preview of our of a recommendation we're going to have to change this policy. That'll probably come next year. So we're not asking for any decisions tonight. As I go through this, keep in mind that when I talk about distances, we use the road distances and street distances and not line of sight or sidewalks, bike trails and things like that. So we use street distances. And also, safe walking paths is an important consideration when we figure out whether students are eligible for transportation. Let's talk about walk zones first. A walk zone is an area around each school where school bus service is not available. At the K through 4 level, that's 1 mile. For 5th through 8th, that's 2 miles. And for the high school, it's 3 miles. Exceptions to this policy would be if a student has a disability and transportation is required, we would transport that child wherever they live. And then also, exception would be if there's no safe walking paths from home to school or school to home, then that would be an exception to the walk zone. Next zone is the pay zone. This is an area where school bus service is available for a fee. And that's only available right now from K through 4, 4th grade, and it's for kids that live 1 to 2 miles from their school. And we also make that available to child care providers that have more than 10 kids that need transportation. A little bit more about the pay to ride services. We introduced this back in 2019. Some of you might remember that. We evaluate the fee annually to make sure it covers costs. And we currently have 3 dedicated buses supporting pay to ride, supporting 205 families. Then the last zone is a free zone, and that's an area that we provide free transportation to kids. And for K through 8, that would be 2 miles and above. And for high school, it's 3 miles. And then the exception for that, again, is if there's no safe walking paths, that will affect the free zone policy. So for example, high school in Oakview, when those buildings were built, there's no walking paths to those buildings. So everybody in those buildings are eligible for free service. Looking at current ridership, we currently have 205 kids that we transport in the pay zone. And then we have 1,485 kids in the free zone that we transport. One of the biggest questions I get, and some of you have asked this, what happens when development from Grimes reaches those buildings? How does that affect eligibility? Now, just given current numbers, current riders, if that were to happen now, 150 Oakview kids would move from the free zone to the pay zone. From the free zone to walk zone. So 150 kids would lose their busing. Also at the high school, once development reaches the high school, 190 kids would move to the walk zone. So on a map, what that looks like for Oakview, Oakview is in the lower left corner of this map. That first shaded area would be the walk zone. And then the first two areas would all the way up would be your walk zone. So that would go from Southeast Main Street and arc all the way up to Northwest 8 would be your walk zone. And again, that'd affect about 150 kids. That's 150 more kids, cars going to Oakview, creating some congestion. On the plus side, that would we would eliminate 3 routes, and that would save us about $150,000 per year if we under current policy. For the high school, under current policy, once development reaches the high school, the 3-mile walk zone would be implemented, and you'd basically lose all busing from Grimes to the high school. The only area that would get service would be the far northeast corner, which is north and east of Heritage Elementary. When I shared this with the high school, they felt that the 190 kids losing busing would have a negative impact on attendance and their ability to get to school. So we're looking at another idea, the idea that you will present next year to you, but I just want to give you a preview of it. And that would be to take what we're doing at the elementary school level and apply it to every building. So every building would have a 1-mile walk zone, 1 to 2 mile pay zone, and a 2+ mile free zone. So we'd mimic what we're doing at the elementary school. And again, I just want to stress that it's going to take 2, 3, 4 years before development fully reaches the high school in Oakview. So any changes won't affect families for a few years. So what that looks like at Oakview, under that proposed policy proposal, again, Oakview is in the lower left corner. A walk zone would cover most of the southwest section of Grimes. And then there would be a pay zone in the middle. And then the red area would be all the kids that continue to get free service. And under this idea, we would still be cutting about 1 route. For the high school, again, they'd have a 1-mile walk zone. And then there would be a pay zone in the middle, and then the free zone would be in the red. About 40 to 50 kids would be in the walk zone in this scenario. Okay, so that's the idea we're working with right now. The idea that we present next year might be this. It might be something slightly different. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So I would be open to any feedback you might have or any questions you have regarding this or any other transportation type issue.
Do you know, like, rough estimate here, how many kids come from Dallas Center for Oakview
To the high
and
school?
for the high school?
About 50 for Oakview and another 50 for high school.
So in the event that, like, those routes, like, if policy stayed the same, right, and then those high school and Oakview buses or whatever went away, those three buses went away, what kind of impact would that, in theory, have to get those approximately 100 kids from Dallas Center to Oakview into the high school?
I'm not following the question.
So when you said, like, if policy stayed the same, you would eventually eliminate 3
3 routes from
Routes.
Grimes to the high
So
school.
just in Grimes?
Just be Grimes,
To
yes.
those kids? Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Everybody in Dallas Center is more than 3 miles, or
Right.
more than 2 miles, so they would always get free transportation. to
So
the high
those
school.
lines aren't those are the lines that are in Grimes that
Yes.
get you to those buildings?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. I
Once there's
misunderstood.
development around Grimes, around the high school, it would be more of a circle.
Okay,
But yeah, Dallas Center will always get free service to high school and to Oakview.
perfect. Thank you.
and eventually maybe even to the middle school in DC Elementary as it grows.
Right.
Jeff?
And I'm sorry,
After you, Nancy, please.
I was just wondering, this walking path that they've created here now,
Yes.
that's currently kind of exempt from our policy at this time, is that correct? Or can you clarify,
Yeah.
would this walking path constitute a safe walking path? I think that people see development on this side of town and wonder those questions.
Well, eventually that will be a good walking path, but as we saw this fall, it was broke up for 2.5 months. So we want to make sure all the development is done, so it's a stable walk path and not something that's going to get broke up every once in a while when development is done, so.
Nancy, I like your question when you phrase it exempt. Jeff and I talked, could we have used it? Sure. But exempt is the right word. We do not need to be using that one
Yeah.
walking path, because how were kids from the south side of Grimes gonna get across? So we just essentially ignored that sidewalk when it came to any miles for bus service.
And we have construction, that's pretty major construction that's going to be going on in that area.
Correct.
For a while.
Yep.
And so I know that some of the paths get flooded or they get driven over, making them less safe.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
I just think as a parent, that's what.
Yep.
Yep.
Jeff, how do you think about needing to cross Highway 44 and I understand how development could reach the school, but knowing what the speed limit is on Highway 44, the volume of traffic, the lack of pedestrian controls, and then as a parent, probably thinking about the level of comfort of, a kid, whether they're in 7th or 8th grade or high school, needing to cross Highway 44 on a regular basis.
Well, it's
how do we
actually
think
in our
about that?
policy that at least, we don't allow kids to cross Highway 44 or 169. But I think eventually Brookside would be a good place where kids could cross at probably the high school level. I don't think we'd want elementary school kids ever crossing that without a crossing guard. But that's the kind of things we look at every spring when we look at walk zones for the next year. We look at what is a safe place to cross the street. There was a time back in the 90s where we had only elementary school we had in Grimes was South Prairie, and kids from the north side would cross 44. My kids did that. So it's not. I think it just needs to be a safe situation. I mean, I don't think County Line Road we'd want kids crossing at that point yet. Eventually, maybe when the speed comes down, but yeah, all those things we look at every year, and me and the superintendent would look at that and look at changes. There might be a situation where we want the school board to approve walk zones at some point down the road.
Thank you.
I have a question not pertaining to this, but I know we put software in, right, a couple years to do the bus routes. Is that, how is that going? Is that,
It's going great.
okay.
Yeah, it makes us much more efficient. We have much better idea of what we're tracking kids. A new student comes on board, we can email the parent the schedule the next day. It's really good. And probably next year I'll be looking at recommending the next level of technology for.
And what is that?
That would be a tablet on every bus.
Oh, okay.
As kids get on, they would scan in and out, so we can really keep track of attendance. What I really like about it is their picture would pop up on the screen, so the bus driver can learn names quicker. GPS would be part of that. Really cool thing is a parent could, on their phone, see where their bus is at.
Well, we already can.
We're starting to
360, but.
We're starting to see that more, and when you order Uber Eats or whatever, you can
Right.
see where your
Yeah.
food's coming.
Right.
Why can't you see where your bus is at? So the younger parents are kind of expecting that, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
I just want to share for this team, I think you all know that there's Jeff is the best in the business. I go and I get to have, some of these meetings, and truly when transportation's talked about, we kind of have the leader in the state with Jeff. He's phenomenal. He's driving bus routes here and there. He takes as good care of his people as any person in our district. They just love working for him, and he's as big of a reason why anyone stays in that role. So thanks for everything you're doing. And he and I have talked a lot about this, and the gist of why we still want to bring this to you guys is we are not looking for ways to keep kids off the bus. In fact, we're going to talk about, the law says we could do this, but we'd really like to stay on top of keeping as many as we can on the bus and being responsible to highways and so the conversations are not in any way, to be honest, about saving a bunch of money right now. It's safety, and we want kids on the bus because we know they go to school more, those things. So it's neat to have those kind of high-level conversations with Jeff. So he gets kind of the whole picture. So thanks for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Dr. Krenza.
All right, good evening. We have a couple of updates. First, I'll start with state reporting. Just a couple I want to bring your attention to. We're still working on the desk audits, which are just our documentation that we're meeting with accreditation standards and state laws and work with that. This year's kindergarten through grade 12 desk audit was quite a bit more lengthy, so we're just waiting on some policy updates that we're checking that we're already taking care of today. Our IDA Part B desk audit, which looks at the performance of our students with disabilities. That was actually signed off by Dr. Bloom yesterday. So that is complete. We'll work on our preschool desk audit. So right now, everything's going well there, and just completing and finalizing any sort of uploads that we need to. So that's underway. Professional development, you can see here the November PD sessions. I want to highlight that this month really was by design. We structured it to give more building time in a row, so we do some district in the flex days, probably happen more in the fall as we got underway. November with parent-teacher conferences, one of those Wednesdays, K8 is for, our TK8 is for parent-teacher conferences, but I know our buildings enjoy that time to work with their staff on what they're doing, so that's gone well. I'm sure Dr. Bloom will provide an update at some point on safety trainings, but those continue on, and thankful for everyone involved in those. Questions about state reporting or PD? Those are both pretty standard. And just a little bit about teacher quality. So as you know, we do have a teacher quality committee that met in September. We end up having to cancel our October meeting due to quite a few absences, but we're back in November. The focus of that group is really working on two things. That's a review of our implementation of district level PD, which is the strong instructional framework and our evaluation process. And then also they will take on a few other smaller tasks, like looking at the calendar, which is actually going to happen next month. We'll start to roll out the 26-27 calendar to that group. We've been really focused on the strong framework and how do we start to incorporate that into our teacher evaluation system. By state law, we have to report out on the 8 Iowa teaching standards if a teacher met or did not meet those 8 standards. And that's always been, of course, that's state code, but that's good practice for us. The purpose of strong framework, the adoption of the strong framework, was to give us the ability to have more targeted conversations and connections with teachers around what makes for a highly effective classroom teacher. And so finding ways to incorporate that into the evaluation system, giving teachers feedback, is the work of the TQ committee. We basically come up with, last session was a brainstorming of what are all the ways that we could incorporate a teacher framework. December will really bring forth a proposal, a couple of ideas that the group can talk through, and then we'll continue that work where we, what does it look like for a teacher going through the evaluation process? How does that differ if you're a first year, brand new to the profession teacher? How would that look different if you were a second year, new to the profession, but about ready to sign off on licensure? And then what if you were a career teacher, someone who's been here many, many years? And then lastly, if you're a career teacher that's new to DCG, meaning you've taught somewhere else and you came here for the first year. So there's a lot of different variations. So for that committee, it's a lot of good conversation. I'm thankful for their input. So just watch for more to be coming on that, but I like to keep people updated. The last one is ESSA. So you're familiar with the Iowa School Performance Profiles, as we've done some learning. As you know, those came out in, gosh, it was almost like end of September, early October. And we still had one school in our district that was received the targeted status, and it was for the subgroup of students with disabilities. So we still were below, in the lowest 5% of scores for students with disabilities at Oakview. Thus, what they did is in the past, last year, school with Oakview, when they were on the targeted status last year, we still did a review of their building goals, what action steps were they taking. We did that in district. The state has changed that this year, requiring all schools, not just those with a Title I status, to undergo the ESSA, and it's called SAMI process, the Self-Assessment of MTSS Practices. So together, we've done a resource allocation review with the team. We've looked at a data review, just how are we doing based on the data presented in the Iowa School Performance Profile just for Oakview. And we've done the SAMI, and they're finishing up with their action planning steps. They will enter that as a building into CASA, into the Consolidated Application and Accountability System. And then that goes to the state for approval by the person that oversees our region. And then we continue to engage in just ongoing conversations and check-ins around their progress. I want to share, I was able to facilitate that meeting as a facilitator of the SAMI, and that team did an excellent job. So this would be the ESSA team at Oakview. Might be different than their building leadership team, but it was held a week ago today, and that team was engaged the entire time. I'm proud of them. They took a critical look at, hey, what are we doing now that we can celebrate? What is the data telling us that we need to improve? And it's pretty vulnerable to put yourself out there as a staff when you're in it every day, you know you're working hard, to be able to examine, hey, what about our practices might we want to continue to improve upon? So they're in the final stages of that. That's due December 5th. But I think it's important to acknowledge their work, as our other buildings don't engage in that because they don't have a targeted status. But we realize it is a thorough process by which they look at their practices. So we've been busy doing that in the school improvement department. And questions around ESSA or any of those?
I do. Correct me if I'm wrong. ESSA is also based off school performance profile, correct?
Yes, correct.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm reading and some of the literature coming from, say, ISEA regarding changes to using low income or SNAP with school performance profiles?
I have seen just very little about that. What I have seen is maybe asking the question of, when we look at the state's performance, the schools in the state, and say, I forget the number, 1,300 schools, like, is there a connection between schools that are scoring and receiving a targeted or comprehensive status and their free and reduced counts? And right now, as we've met as a board in that work session, they are not changing from that scoring system. So could there be a correlation? I have my own private thoughts to that, or things professionally. Is the state looking at changing that? I have not heard anything related to any sort of considerations that they would make. I think those points are valid for schools to ask. It's interesting when you see the data of the schools that are probably score the lowest on the school performance profile, with people wondering, is there a correlation to those? Would also be schools with high, low SES status overall. But I don't have enough information to answer your question successfully, but I do know the state has not. I think they've worked hard to develop their profile, right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't know how they would account for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nancy, I'm with Greg real quick. I've seen, like, we should be talking about this kind of as a public school, but not in response to something's coming from the state. More of a, maybe you, state, should be looking at these numbers as well. Part of our team will be a part of a webinar with the Department of Ed next week, because they are going to talk to us and then make public the rollout of a district performance profile. So right now, these profiles are kind of building specific. They are going to be sharing with us next week, and then the public the week after, their formula for a district-wide profile and what that means and how it works. So Curious to see what that's all about and share more.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Krenza? Dr. Bloom?
All right, so starting with building permits, would we have 9 or so up until this point this fiscal year, now 12 in October, so that's good news. 10 residential home permits in Grimes, 2 in Dallas Center, so we'll keep that number on the rise, exciting stuff. Now for some rough news. Down 34 students this month from certifying in October 1st to now where we stand as of the board packaging's out, 35. And you can kind of see the breakdown. What just has us puzzled in this office is, as you know, right now they're not leaving for open enrollment, right? You can't just, I want to go to this other school. You literally are moving your house. And I think I've said that a lot. You're moving your family, and you can see which ones are kind of around us across the state. So these kind of just added up over the last couple of weeks. So then last week when Deanna and I sit down and go over all this stuff, I said, Deanna, when they're calling you and turning in, what are they saying? Like, please do never hesitate if they've got, we're moving because this is awful. And she's like, they're just moving. I don't have a negative experience they're sharing with me. I don't have do you want to talk to Bloom about it? They're just moving. She says they're pleasant conversations. So again, we don't want to get into people's private life about why. Is it anything related to prices or opportunities? We don't know, but not good that we're down, but at the same time, it's a little hard for us to grab because they're not, again, open enrollment is not a thing right now. So they're literally moving to another school district where, by law, they should go. That being said, to be fair, if it's local, we are certainly telling them if you want, you can open enroll back, right? That's an option. Depending on where it is, that's certainly a possibility. A quick challenge, though, is when you open enroll, you don't get transportation. So sometimes that's a barrier. We can't go into another school district to bring in even when you open enroll. So that, for plenty of people, right, unless you have a high school kid, like kind of becomes at times a non-discussion point. But anyway, I wish I had better information of why. I just talking with Deanna, there's not a bunch of bullets of this is why we're leaving and you could do something about it. They're moving their families. So unfortunate, but we'll keep you posted on that. Okay, several things on facilities. First and foremost, we haven't been together in person since the bond passed, so just want to say thank you for all your support and answering questions and, again, supporting our work as an admin team and as a district. We couldn't have done it without each one of you at the board table supporting it, so thank you, exciting stuff. You probably saw we did pretty well across the metro and the state. The support for DCG from our families is really, really high, so that's exciting. Just over the last couple of weeks, OPN, the architects, have met with representatives of the high school team, so they kind of started an initial, what do you like, what do you don't like, kind of did some of that on science spaces, activity spaces, room spaces, library. They talked to the cafeteria staff, the custodial team. They kind of just met with a whole bunch of people over the course of 2 days, admin team, admin assistants, to start that kind of listening process. They also did that separately with high school activities folks. So not Oakview yet, but they did high school activities to kind of get their input on some of the stadium work. So those meetings are fast and furious. They will then, Travis Donahue and Sean Shadow will meet with the admin team tomorrow to talk about the timeline to start off for a couple of our inclusive playground projects. They will start that conversation at the admin table about what are you looking for, what do you need, and then that will go out to families for a survey. AJ, will you remind me when our families are getting kind of the first playground survey? Sunday, yep. So they'll get that, and then that will morph into a little deeper dive into exclusive playground specifically. So we're making sure we get the voices at the table, but we are going to see, knock on wood, a couple of inclusive playgrounds be ready darn close to the start of the school year. Going to focus on DCE first, and Northridge, they have other projects that are taking place over the summer with their heat pumps and fire panels and getting some new audio equipment in there. Let's just do it all at the same time. So we'll start with those two, but it will not be far behind that South Prairie Heritage and the middle school. Just as kind of a word of caution maybe, what we're gonna do with each building is kind of do an inventory of the actual playgrounds that are there, what are we missing, what do we need, and then go out and do it. So a place, to be honest, like DCE, got some pretty old equipment, some of that stuff probably needs to go. They're going to get more inclusive playground because a place like Heritage that has had it for, like, they're not gonna get as much playground equipment, but what we're really gonna try to do is be as darn equitable as possible with what the items are there. So if you go to DCE or Heritage, you're gonna get similar playground equipment, both regular, so to speak, and inclusive. And what's coming for everybody, right, is certainly the softer, safer, more accessible ground, all that. So it's gonna be exciting, but that's gonna happen pretty quickly. Also, I got from OPN last week, I got kind of the first draft, and I'll be very cautious of our construction management crew, DCI, got that as well, so they're gonna put their input on it, but we got the first draft of like a timeline. So this is when we think we can get some inclusive playgrounds going next summer. We know the high school project, that's not gonna start digging probably until later fall next year because of schematic design and all the bidding process and the paperwork, so that's gonna be a longer deal. But springtime, summer, we're gonna start to see some projects, including playgrounds, the entry, right, the safety and security at those couple buildings. So every month now, you'll get a constant update from me on the work from OPN, DCI, and just facilities in general. And two last things related to that. So we will have Shaylee and Monica will be joining us along with some members of the high school team and admin team and OPN. We're gonna go to Kansas City on the 15th and 16th, so one day overnight, and we're gonna get to spend time at 6 different high schools, several of which are similar to you've renovated an existing building, right? We're not just you have a brand new high school, great, like that may be helpful for some parts, but there's a several on purpose that have very large renovating a high school project. So some will see the whole thing. Others, we may be just focused on CTE spaces, right? Others, we may be just focused on science classrooms. I think there's gonna be a lot everywhere. But that's gonna be exciting to take a bunch of notes and just kind of see what's out there. And then lastly, with facilities, Greg and I spent Friday of last week and today. Friday, we were at North Polk, Ankeny Centennial, Waukee, and West Des Moines, touring their CTE spaces. And today was DMAC. We were in their construction trades program, their culinary arts program, and the automotive tech, which is, I mean, they're just insanely cool. And then later this morning, we were at DMAC, Des Moines Central Campus, looking at their program. And a lot of what Greg and I were after was, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not gonna run a marine biology program at DCG. Central Campus does a great job of that, aviation. But are there some programs that may be better for DCG to host? Or really what the last 2 days was kind of looking at facilities. So we were talking to teachers, principals, what do you love about this space and what maybe could be done differently? So we took as much like, don't do that notes as we did like, wow, that's incredible. We're blessed that all those people were letting us walk around. They gave us hours of time, so we are grateful for those districts and partners, but we've got, I bet, double digits of notes on just little things we saw, feedback from them, cool things. So we're excited to do that with Kansas City and give that to OPN and say, good luck. We are ready for you to do this list for us. So really neat. So excited about where that's going. So any questions on the facilities bond in general? I know I kind of just rattled off a bunch.
I do have a question. I know that the CTE is really about getting out and having that employability. I'm just wondering, is there any part of this scope of work that includes thinking about how that can also be used to support our 4+ programming here at our building?
Yeah, that's a great question, because Nancy, to the bond specifically, we're gonna do some neat things on the high school campus for a 4+ program. We wanna build, right, kind of that apartment complex feel.
I just toured Johnston's
Okay,
today,
and that's-
so this is why I'm asking.
That's on our list to do. We've heard some really neat places that are doing that. So I would say, yes, there's kind of that piece as part of it. From a CTE 4+ connecting with our employability partners, like we haven't had that conversation. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, we haven't
I
had
see
it
you go.
formally, but our DCAP team is
Yep.
where most of that works. So CTE is such a narrow and tiny scope of what we would call post-secondary readiness. So post-secondary readiness is this big, then you get into probably like work-based learning and industry recognized, and then you get into CTE, so that it narrows as you go. We have talked in our DCAP, which is our career and academic plan, about where can we start to think about students with disabilities. That was feedback that the board gave us at one of our earlier presentations. And so we've started to talk about what that might look like and where are those opportunities that exist. So it's on our radar. We've probably made more progress than typical with that. So as we think about making work-based learning opportunities in the workplace, are there opportunities in companies that we could partner with? Even like I know Triple B's Diner in Johnston, provide support for students with disabilities. Anywhere here in our district area that we could partner, we're starting to reach out more than ever to businesses. So it's coming, probably a little bit slowly because it is so giant. But I think those are all great questions, and we take that feedback back to those groups.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't also like Voc Rehab and Transition Services had legislation, I believe, last year to prioritize?
Yes, and we met our DCAP, I was the rep for DCAP with the vocational rep person that worked here with DCG. So we met earlier, like in September, early September, to sign off on that process. So we've got those pieces in place. We're just working to kind of go to that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Any other facilities, stuff I can help with? Okay. All right, and lastly, I just wanted to bring you attention to a TIF project in Dallas Center. So TIF is a tax increment financing. Cities do this. Frequently is probably the wrong word, but it's fairly common. We get it from Grimes, Dallas Center, even Urbandale can do it with a little sliver of Urbandale city, that's Grimes. And that's when cities are essentially kind of taxing the school district back for projects that they would argue are bringing increased valuation to the district, okay? It happens, school districts don't love it, of course, but it's part of the deal. We have good relationships with everybody, fine. The reason I bring this one up in particular is because I ended up deciding to speak at the Dallas Center City Council meeting last week, and it really revolves around two items. I just wanted on the board attentions if you've got questions or see this. So Dallas Center is gonna do an urban renewal project, okay? They're gonna, I think, kind of revamp their desire to kind of, I don't know, refresh or outlook kind of the downtown part, which is neat. I think they wanna try to build a road or two that does some connecting to potential residential areas, and just revitalize with the goal, right, of getting to folks moving down Center. Great. We, of course, are all support of that. Been a great team. I will tell you the major concern that I shared about the TIF project itself is I'm gonna throw Michelle as my teammate under the butt. Like, she's been around a long time and hasn't seen this, and so this was new to me, so I started with her. The Dallas Center City Administrator, with approval by the City Council, is TIFing 1/4 of his salary. So I went to speak and say, hey, like, projects are one thing, like, we get it. You're now going to be asking Grimes and Dallas Center citizens of the school district to pay 25% of the city administrator of Dallas Center salary for just under $30,000. And we just have a huge problem with the district, in this case, our tax citizens, paying for another city official's salary, even part of it. That's That's kind of what your job is and how the Dallas Center City pays for you. B, you're asking citizens of Grimes who don't live in Dallas Center to pay for part of that. Like, that was the argument that I was making about why we aren't arguing as much about the project. It's about the salary piece, okay? So that was half of it. I want to share very transparently with you, because I did with them. The other half was the timing piece. So as part of TIF projects, you have to give a school district an opportunity to have essentially a consultation period. Hey, school district, we're gonna TIF some tax back. You have the opportunity to sit and ask questions. Are awesome. We got their TIF proposal on Tuesday, November 4th in the afternoon, and their consultation period was noon on November 5th, the next day. I happened to be out of the state, so by the time I get it, we're gone. That's actually why I ended up at the city council meeting, was because I didn't have an opportunity. So I shared a little frustration with that. John Cook and I have had a good relationship, the city administrator. John and I met a month ago to talk about this project. I appreciate him showing me Dallas Center stuff. It's exciting, but nowhere did John tell me that part of what they were gonna TIF was a quarter of his salary. So I shared my frustration that we're paying for that, and I just didn't like that we met and you didn't tell me, and then you gave us less than 24 hours to talk to you about it. And so it was just a little bit of a bummer. So I spoke, the city council took up the action, did not have any discussion on it. They just voted unanimously. So FYI, that happened. And so we will be paying for their, portion of the project and his salary. And I just wanted this board to know that happened. Part of my hopefully professional frustration was that's $30,000 that could go somewhere else when we've talked about staffing. But it is what it is. We're moving on. But I just wanted that. I want you aware I did talk to the Dallas City Council, and that is a little bit of the context of why I was there. I'm certainly not looking for ways to go to city council meetings, but I thought that was important enough one to share. Just, it was a unique enough TIF project, the salary piece, that I just wanted DCG's voice to be heard in front of the Dallas Center City Council. So with that, I'll do my best to answer any of your questions, but I wanted that to be on your radar, if you got any questions.
So Grimes, we have TIF in Grimes as well. Do we have a sense of just TIF overall at the district level, what that costs on an annual basis? And that's really an unfair question to hit you cold with, and if you need to get back to us, that's fine. But knowing you might have
So
a
let me
sense
do
of
my
that.
best. Because we asked the same question. There are already existing TIFs, some of them years old, that are working through their lifetime. Some recently renewed, but did not have a single document that could tell me what they all were. And so I reached out to Piper Jaffray, who works with many of the municipalities, and asked them, could you compile just from public data and explain to us what TIFs are in place, what they cover, encompass what those projects are, so that we have, one, an idea of what those things are, and two, what the impact is to the total tax rate of the district. And so, as Dr. Bloom says, we're paying for that. The mechanics of an actual TIF is much more complex than that. We don't write them a check. Instead, what happens is a redistribution because valuation from an area in the TIF is not allowed to grow. That growth goes to the city, and our tax rate is split over a smaller valuation because that growth is attributed somewhere else. And so it does probably drive up our tax rate, our mill rate, to everyone within the boundaries of the school district. So let's say this one might have been a couple of cents on the levy overall, paid by all taxpayers of the district. So when you have a TIF that covers let's say a city street in Grimes, but that valuation, it's part of the TIF. That valuation mill rate is applied across all the citizens of the school district, and so it might be someone in Dallas Center is paying for a project in Grimes, and or vice versa, depending on what they are. Dr. Bloom and I felt like it was well worth the cost to have Piper investigate for us exactly what's out there. Do any of the others have salary and benefits in them that we don't know about, or is it just this one from the city of Dallas Center that came to light in this process? So more on that to come for you.
Yeah, well, and I think, the district's worked hard to build strong relationships with both Dallas Center and Grimes, and I think that's important. I would hope that, if we're meeting with them, that there would be better transparency around what's gonna go on the TIF. Hey, this is coming, get us the right notice period. I mean, all of those things seem to be just what you would expect to have happen, but it would be good to understand more comprehensively what the TIF impact, just broadly to the district is, where it comes from, and then that salary benefits question was gonna be my second one, so great.
Could I inquire as to how much the Piper Jaffrey work was?
So I am awaiting that quote. I have just requested it, so I don't have a number for you yet, Meg, but I can get that to you.
Okay, thank you. Just devil's advocate hat, because it's my favorite hat. Insofar as like offering a certain amount of time, I know that that's something that we have discussed too, as far as like the 24-hour notice, and we published it where we needed to publish it, and then if that wasn't, if you didn't seek out where it was, then, reasons X, Y, and Z. We have absolutely fielded those questions and had those conversations at this table. So I feel like I would hope that the city of Dallas Center did everything that was legally required of them, that they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And if that was rough for us, we've been on the other side of that seat too, right? And sometimes that sucks. And I sincerely hope that there wasn't anything malicious or, gross about that. I would also maybe hope that in the interim of the time that you spoke with Mr. Cook and by the time that you were at a city council meeting, maybe that's when, like, during that time is when the salary element came up. Like, maybe he didn't know about it when he sat down with you. Like, that could be a possibility too. So I think that in the event that these were questions that he had, we also know, holding public meetings, we don't necessarily discuss every single question that comes from somebody speaking at a meeting. That's a very real thing. So a lot of these conversations are, if we don't address someone's question, they don't necessarily understand that, then we get the emails or we get the phone calls. So that is also something that I would maybe not necessarily say encourage you to do, but hope that is something that you did try to do before bringing this here.
No, thanks, Meg. And I have reached out and have set up meetings with all the city council folks just to understand a little bit more about their timeline. Just FYI, here's from us, just to make sure lines of communication are always open. So, yep, appreciate it.
Any other questions for Dr. Bloom?
I would also like to say, just on the note of the TIF thing and knowing the other, like, not wearing my school board hat, wearing my Meg in Dallas Center hat, the things are really, really exciting happening in Dallas Center, and it's absolutely a time for Dallas Center to be growing roots, right? Mm-hmm. This is all in the we are growing sustainably and responsibly kind of way, and the end result of all of this is to bring families to Dallas Center and to bring kids to our schools. Like this might be like a spend money to earn money kind of thing in the future. Like it's very cool stuff.
And that's why, to be honest, I was so kind of bummed out, was it has been such a great partnership. And a lot of people, not a lot, several of the board, city council members are the same ones that I've met with multiple times about things related to DCE in particular. My argument was, I don't know what a city administrator does, but it sounds like urban renewal projects are what you should do. So to have the school pay for a portion of your salary, just the superintendents I had tried to talk to, because I was the dumb guy that had never seen that, they were just like, that's not a normal thing. And so it's probably fair to ask questions. So I think my argument was more about, no, that's great, get all the people there, that helps everybody. I just don't know why your salary was part of this TIF project when I'm guessing your job is to get people to come to Dallas Center and do all the stuff that's listed in here. I think that was more of my concern of the project itself, so.
Any other questions? Ms. Wermuth?
Okay, I direct your attention to the revenue and expenditure budget comparison for the month of November 2025. You'll note that we're 45% through the year, and our expenditures are 28.31% of the appropriations for this year. The total appropriation listed here is about $50.8 million. We're right in line with where we have been the last 4 years, just a percent or two under where expenditures have been. Often that is impacted by when open enrollment bills or special education bills are paid. Looking at revenue in that same report, you'll see that at 45% through the year, we're at 28% of revenue as well, with several pieces being at 100%, including some of our grants. The early successful progression of early readers grant is already at 100%, and most of the state aid is at 20%. This is something you'll see monthly. We continue to monitor and keep an eye on, just so that you have a pulse on where we are in the operating budget. Moving forward to the public budget comparison report for the month of November 2025. Once again, you see we're 45% through the school year, with the comparison of total expenditures for all funds versus the amount you published in the newspaper during the certified budget is all under that piece, ranging from anywhere from 9% from your operating transfers and bond issue funds up to 32% in total support services. So we will continue to monitor that as we move through the year and determine if we need to amend our budget. Okay, next, USDA Farm to School grant. This is exciting news. We applied for the USDA Patrick Leahy Farm to School State Agency Formula Grant. It is federal dollars that flow through the the Iowa Department of Education's Bureau of Food and Nutrition. We requested $15,000 and we're awarded $14,000 to use towards nutrition education and school garden activities. And so we have some really neat things planned as part of this grant. Chartwells will partner with us, with Food Service Director Matthew Pasma taking a big part of that, as will our district culinary educator, Joseph Grohl. Utilizing hydroponics in different areas. About 150 different kids will get to experience the actual seed planting and being part of that hydroponic garden, and most of the district will get to taste what we grow through the food service program. So more on that as we move through this federal grant. This is the first time in my recollection that we've received federal grant dollars in the nutrition fund, so exciting times in that area. Finally, after November 4th, when the bond issue passed, we started moving at lightning speed to get going for a December bond sale of approximately $15 million, and part of that is having a credit rating service determine the financial standing of the school district by issuing a credit rating. And so on November 20th, Moody's came back after our interview and upheld the AA2 rating. They note that our profile reflects a solid financial position and high resident income ratio. You'll notice in the report that it says growing enrollment. They aren't looking at the short term, they're looking at a 10-year window for that enrollment. And at each time we move forward to sell a bond of this $88 million, this will be part of the process. They will review the district's financial standing each time and issue a credit rating in advance of that bond. So it says a lot about the board's responsibility and actions that you take to pre-levy as often as possible to pay off bonds early. It says a lot about the actions that you take as a board to levy property tax for cash reserve at the time that you have the opportunity to do so. Moody's is very keen on, did the board take the actions they could regardless of tax rate at that point in time to maintain their fiduciary responsibility. So bravo to all of you for achieving the financial standing.
Well, Michelle, I think the board gets the credit for taking your guidance is what we get credit for. So thank you for keeping an eye on that, bringing really good intel back to the board in terms of how we can make the right moves. And I don't know, this is maybe, I don't know how many bond sales in a row where you've got the AA2 rating. So I know that's a badge of honor for you. Thanks for the work you did to maintain that.
I may have danced.
Well, you tell the story well, so there's, I'm sure that was worth a few points.
I can confirm when the rating came, Michelle's emoji game is strong. So she's a good emoji game when she's happy.
Any other questions for Michelle? Okay, item F, ISB conference was this last week, and I know Julie and Shaylee, you had some time there. If you'd like, this is a time where you could share a little bit about the conference, what you learned, what you attended. Board would love to hear about your day at the ISB conference.
Want me to start? So again, they put on a really good, great presenters. I was really impressed with the two main presenters we had. I would say there was kind of some overall themes that I kind of got, but just kind of focusing on our why. We focus on our how and our what, but really focusing on why we're here and why we do what we do, and then building those relationships that in turn kind of build our culture. And then that they had a little video at the beginning, but all children can learn. And so really, and also looking at the future ready, like making sure that not only can they learn now, but what are we doing for our kids for post-secondary. I will kind of talk a little bit about the first presenter. I really enjoyed him, but he kind of had 5 reasons how to lead with purpose. Stay hyper-focused on our purpose, which is kind of talking about our whys. Foster a culture where people are valued. I feel like DCG does a really good job of that, something that I know we're always, I know you do a good job of that, Dr. Williams, just, making sure that our people are valued. That is, I think, important for us. Key to building culture is having empathy for the hidden stories. It was very interesting, he put on the screen, if we had a new student coming in, she's a female, she has missed like 30-some days of school and been late 20. What would your impression or your thoughts be of that student? And kind of we talked it as a table, and that, are there behavior issues? Do they have family? Maybe the family situation's not good. Disability, learning, all these things. Well, it was his daughter. And she had a severe allergy, and in order to do therapy to kind of deal with that allergy, it was 2 hours away, one way. And so she was constantly going back and forth to do this allergy testing and therapy or whatever it was. So just kind of looking at how we perceive numbers don't necessarily tell the story. We're really big in data, and I love data, don't get me wrong. I think it is very important, but also looking at kind of the hidden stories behind that data. So that one's kind of the biggest one, I think, for me. One of the things he said is our own lenses can get in the way. So when we look at it here, it may be a different, something behind the scenes that it may be that we need to, not us necessarily, but just understanding. Work to understand all perspectives of complex issues before making decisions. That's very important, I think, for us as a board, to making sure that we're getting all sides before we make decisions. And then great school boards are intentional in their communication. I think that has gotten better, our communication, not necessarily as a school board, I think it is, but just also as a district. I think we've done a really good job of continuing to improve our communication. So a lot of AI stuff, there was a lot of breakout sessions on AI, school board culture, So yeah, just a lot of good stuff happening. I'll kind of report with, Dr. Bloom on all kind of the nitty gritty stuff that we learned. But yeah, it was a good day, so.
It was a great first kind of jump into the whole thing. You know, those conventions are made to kind of get you excited, and it surely did. It was, you know, they start off with those motivational speakers that really, like Shaylee had said, just really get you back to the why of why we're here, the powerful videos that they do, all of that type of thing. I think one thing that hit home to me, they mentioned like characteristics of a healthy community. We have to take care of our community, and you know, passion, vision, content, a place to gather, and consistency, just all things that we really need to look at and focus, getting back to that why. I think one thing that's really important to me is the relational feature of it, and both speakers both talked about how their families and their kids were impacted by schools, by the community, by the school, you know, just all of that. The one lady was a very successful, she was in and out of like ESPN, she was in the locker rooms like interviewing and stuff, but at home, like she had a child that had just some issues that they were working through and how they worked through it. And, you know, he joined this water polo team and they just found community there and just got him from like not wanting to go to school to like wanting to go every day and getting his grades up. And it just brought everything home to like it really is important that we have this community, that each kid really does matter. I was able to see a couple of breakout sessions. One talked a lot about bullying, harassment, and how it's kind of a multiple instance situation that we need to look at instead of tying it back to a specific, you know, trait or what that type of thing. So that was kind of eye-opening to me. And then the other one that Bloom and I sat in on was interesting was the 4-day school week. And Sadell actually is rocking it with it, pulling up just all of the stats. Because again, like we can talk about how great it is, but when they actually showed like a few things like recruitment and retention of teachers, they went from having a handful of people applying for jobs to like hundreds of teachers applying. And so in that, they just added 30 minutes, what was it, 30 minutes a day, I think, to their schedule. And then Sadell has Fridays off, if I remember. There were a couple other schools that had Mondays off. So again, it was nice to kind of look at that and what they were doing well with it, all of those things. So I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to go. It was a great day, kind of a jump start to me starting, so.
Thank you both very much. Any questions? All right, we don't have any old business. We took care of that in the prior meeting. Moving along to new business, item A, set the monthly meeting days and time, 5:30, and location. I don't think that there's any changes to the summary from the prior year. There are some modest changes relative to December, March, May, and July to avoid some activities and holidays. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Dickinson.
Second, Viella.
Any discussion?
On here it says Monday, December 15th, but I believe that's incorrect. It's actually been changed to the 17th with the 5 p.m. start for the work session, correct?
Correct. Yeah, and let me double check, Nancy, why you said that, because I'm wondering.
I'm just
That's actually-
asking because I
It's for
have to
next year.
rearrange my life, and so I need to set like 4.
We have to approve that
Oh, it does
item.
take
Ah,
You-
got it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Slow down.
So I just want to make
Slow down.
I'm sorry, there's
Good
just
job.
many shifting pieces.
There are. You
And
got it.
reminder text messages that must be sent to
Yes.
myself.
There you go.
Okay, excuse me then, I digress.
No, you were great. It was great.
December 26th. Yeah, that would be for this meeting though, because the Monday,
The Monday you guys are in Kansas City, you said the
Yeah.
15th, 16th is an overnight, which meant
Yeah.
that we're switching it
We'll
to the
set
Wednesday.
next
the
December's
Wednesday.
meeting
And then the
next
Monday,
November.
we were supposed to be
Yep.
5 today, but we switched that to the 16th.
yeah, and December 2026 would actually be part of next year's calendar, and it would be the 14th. So you're right on that, but we'll take care of that in
Okay.
a later action, so it's a good call out.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item B, board committees. I'm gonna call an audible here, and let's maybe go through the committees as we can. Everybody's got a paper copy of them in front of us. We'll assign the board member names to the 25-26 column, and then we'll bring a motion to the table and then vote on that if the board's okay with that path. Building and grounds, last year we had McNace, Fiala, Baker Curtis. So maybe the first question is, Nick and Nancy, is that a committee that you'd like to remain on?
Yes.
Okay. And then, is there anyone that would like to volunteer? We can have up to 3 board members on a committee. We don't have to have 3, but we can't have 4 or more.
Frank, I'd like to jump on that. if
Okay.
that's
Great.
Nancy, you want to stay, right?
Yes, please.
Good, you got it.
Negotiations, Carpenter, Blomberg, and Vandervelden, the 3 of us have done that for a couple of years now. That would be a committee, though, that I think you have to have 2 board members that have continuity year to year, just because there's so much that carries over. But is there another board member that would, has real interest in being part of the negotiations committee? And if not, we can keep it how it is as well.
I think a part of that discussion, Ryan, would have to do with when that committee meets and kind of the responsibility of that committee, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have had some morning meetings, and so that makes that committee something that you would have to consider as a person.
I can give some context on that. So this committee doesn't meet a ton, really between, call it 1st of May and call it 1st of maybe March, or maybe 1st of February. So, but in that window between February and May, it's pretty busy, and you
Every
meet
week,
at least
at least.
once a week,
Yeah.
if not a couple of times a week. You're a little bit at the mercy of the legislature, because they've got to pass SSA, even though the law says they have to pass it by
30 days within
They never do. So apparently we need to follow the rules, but they, I'll digress for a moment. Never. Yeah, well, nevertheless. So anyway, so during that period of time, it does get pretty busy. I think there's a couple of other things. We've tried to take on something new in terms of a big rock in that space every year. So last year, I believe, or maybe 2 years ago, we spent pretty significant time helping understand the benefits package. And prior to that, we hadn't pushed out a statement of benefits. So Michelle's team was kind enough every year. It's kind of a total compensation statement. So sometimes you hear, well, I can go to another district and make X or Y. Well, do you really understand what your full compensation package really is valued at here at Dallas Center Grimes? And if you were to look at a different opportunity, at least you have all of your salary and benefits information in terms of total cost. So, you know, those kind of ancillary items that you take on take some more time. So this year, for example, we'll need to spend some time talking about salary schedule and structure. That's something that we agreed as a group that we would take up this year. So anyway, so yes, it is a significant time commitment for about 3 months or 3.5 months there.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you bet.
And with that, I'm not interested in that committee because I cannot be there in the early morning.
I'll stay on.
Okay.
I would like to stay if no one else wants
I
to.
would too. Okay. All right. Legislative representatives, Meg and Shaylee was an alternate as the IASB delegate. Any thoughts from the 2 of you about that? For
I
next
was
year?
not able to attend this year, but I would happily continue that role.
Okay.
If that's something that everyone's amenable to.
Sure.
I mean, if you need an alternate, that's fine. I don't think I need to go unless Meg can't. Just let me know
I'll let you know.
before.
Great.
Can't.
All right. Meg, Unfortunately, I'm
I'm
not
the
sure you
only
have
one.
any choice, yeah.
I'm the only one. Which does bring up a very interesting point, just to like put this out there in the universe. In the event that since District 5 doesn't encompass part of Grimes, in the event that there is not a Dallas County resident on the board, what does that do for you? What happens then?
I don't know.
Ooh,
Yeah, we'd have
food
to-
for thought.
We'd have to ask
Guess I'm a permanent fixture, yo. Mary.
I don't believe the requirement is that you have to be a resident. It's just been something that we've always designated as
Oh, okay.
important.
Okay, fair point.
Good. Nick, you did Polk County last year. Is that something you'd like to stay with?
Yeah, I'll stay on.
Okay. All right, SiAC, Nancy and Shaylee,
We'll stay on if that's.
That's
and,
fine.
and another board member could join if they would like. Okay, we'll keep that the same. Facility planning, Carpenter, McNace, Momberg. But Shaylee, it seems like you're spending a fair bit of time with that,
I am, yeah.
okay?
But I know that, and I think Julie might be
That's
interested
fine.
too.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, it
Like,
doesn't,
you know, kind of facility, building grounds and transportation,
Yeah.
whatever.
it's total, I am very interested in it, but I also know other people are as well, so I don't wanna.
Yeah. And did you want to stay on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm happy to step off of this one if you'd like to
Are you
join.
sure?
Mm-hmm, yep,
Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
you bet. Okay. Policy review, Momberg and Dickinson.
I love that one.
You love that one?
I do.
Yeah,
I'll stay.
that's kind of your jam.
I-
That's kind of what you do for a
Yep.
living. Any other board members? I will join this one. Okay. Wellness, Nancy and Shaylee.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else like to join? Okay. All right. We'll, I think we can make a general motion that committees is noted. Looking for a motion?
Move to approve Dickinson.
Second, Fiala.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item C, substantial completion of the DCE building envelope roof project. Looking for a motion?
Move to approve Dickinson.
Second, Baker Curtis.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'm gonna ask for a little help from Michelle on D, E, and F. These all three deal with the upcoming bond sale. So on D, Michelle, any additional information you could share with the board?
So, first of all, on number D, the addendum to the agreement to serve as the dissemination agent for secondary market disclosure. Primary market disclosure is when you're selling a bond, all the information that comes out in advance of the bond. Secondary market disclosure is all of the disclosures that we're required to do annually to a platform called EMMA. And that's part of the SEC rules with regard to public bonds. And so Piper Jaffray serves in the role to help compile the information, get it uploaded to EMMA, help us understand items when we need to disclose specific items out to any bondholders. Let's say if we missed a bond payment, that would be something that we would be required to disclose. So those are called material events. If our rating changes from a AA2 to a higher rating or a lower rating, higher rating, that would be a material disclosure. And so Piper Jaffray serves in that role on all of our other bonds for secondary disclosure. So it makes sense to be consistent and use the same firm for secondary market disclosure.
Thank you for that. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve Vandervelden.
Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Motion carries. Item E, engage Allers and Cooney as bond counsel and disclosure counsel for sale of $15 million of general obligation bonds. Any additional information on this one, Michelle?
Sure. Aller serves in these two roles, but different attorneys in different areas. One serving as bond counsel for us, that's Elizabeth Grove, and one serving as disclosure counsel for us, and that's Kristen Cooper. And so the different duties, the bond counsel serves as preparation of all the documents, review of all the documents, getting everything ready to go to public sale. For that bond. Disclosure counsel serves on the back end of that. They look at that offering statement. They ask those questions. They do a continuing disclosure with the district and ask me lots of questions about what is your private use, what are you doing with the facilities, what is the timeline plan, et cetera, et cetera. And so Allers and Cooney does this typically for many, many school districts across Iowa. They are the only bond counsel and disclosure counsel that we've used in 30 years. And so we began that process with them early on. This is just formalizing that relationship.
Looking for a motion.
Move to approve Malmberg.
Second,
Second.
Vandervelden.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Item F, resolution directing the advertisement for sale, approving electronic bidding procedures, and approving official statement. Any additional information?
So this is the actual offering statement where you are offering out to any bidder the full faith and credit of the school district and our ability to repay up to $15 million in bonds. Remember, we have authorization for up to $88 million, but there are timelines with those, and so we sell them in small pieces across a number of years to spread that out so that we meet the guidelines of 2 years or 3 years, depending on the amount. These $15 million is the tax exempt bond limit for a fiscal year, which is why we scrambled to get done in 2025. So,
Thank you. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve Baker Curtis.
Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Item G, I'm gonna just accept into record the bids received for trash and recycling. Kind of a cool story here, so I'll just give the floor to Dr. Bloom for just a minute.
Want to give Travis and Sean a shout out because they're in their roles, they're asking a lot of questions to why do we do this and how do we do this? And they saw a cost to waste management for all of our, our trash upkeep coming and going for upwards of $90,000+. And they said, well, I think some other people could do that. So they put an RFP together and got Waste Management, Waste Connections, and Ankeny Sanitation to all bid. We're gonna recommend staying with Waste Management, but for approximately $40,000 less dollars. To be honest, to kind of do the same thing. And so, just neat that they're asking questions and not necessarily business as usual. So to be honest, I don't know what changed in the waste management world, but I think when they probably knew they had some competition coming their way, they probably needed to be ready that DCG could go elsewhere. So to their credit, they figured that part out, but in kind of one day, they saved $40,000. So.
Great. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve. Second, Quant.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Item H would be to award the trash and recycling bid to Waste Management. Looking for a motion.
Move to award Baker Curtis.
Second, Viella.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Item I, the SBRC application request for open enrollment, not on the previous year. Michelle, any additional information here?
Yes, the School Budget Review Committee grants Modified Supplemental Aid, or MSA, which is what you would know as unspent authority or allowable growth for modified, or for open enrollment students who came from another district but missed count day. And so for those situations, we are allowed to get authority for those. For our situation this year, it's $503,579.75 in authority that you're asking from the School Budget Review Committee. Now, you may remember in past years, we used to do this all in one big motion, one big lump, and the School Budget Review Committee has given some guidelines that these must be separate motions, so you're gonna see them broken out. In some years, we have also had increased enrollment as part of this. We would get additional authority for increased enrollment that wasn't on count. Unfortunately, we're not in that situation this year, so you don't see that as one of these three motions.
Thank you, Michelle. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Vandervelden.
Second, Baker Curtis.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The SBRC application request for English learners instruction beyond 5 years. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Baker Curtis.
Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, item K, the retirement of Mr. Garrick. We'd like you to consider the retirement of Mr. Garrick at the close of the 25-26 school year and approve the 25-26 early retirement incentive under Board Policy Code 40706. We would like to express gratitude for Robert's 28 years of service to the school district, teachers, and students of Dallas Center Grimes schools. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Fiella.
Second, Vandervelden.
Any discussion?
Thank you so much for your service.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving along to item I, consider the retirement of Ms. Hart at the close of the 25-26 school year and approve the 25-26 early retirement incentive under Board Policy Code 407.06. We would like to express gratitude for Ms. Hart's 19 years of service at the school district, teachers, and students of Dallas Center Grimes schools. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Baker Curtis.
Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion?
Thank you so much, Ms. Hart.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item M, consider the retirement of Ms. Mensing at the close of the 25-26 school year and approve the 25-26 early retirement incentive under Board Policy Code 40706. We would like to express gratitude for Ms. Mensing's 31 years of service to the school district, teachers, and students of Dallas Center Grimes schools. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve,
Quant.
Dickinson. Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion?
Thank you so much. 31 years is a haul.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consider the retirement of Ms. Thompson at the close of the 25-26 school year and approve the 25-26 early retirement incentive under Board Policy Code 407.06. We would like to express gratitude for Ms. Thompson's 30 years of service to the school district, teachers, and students of Dallas Center Grimes schools. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Dickinson.
Second, Fiella.
Any discussion?
Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consider the resignation and retirement of Ms. Rosa, effective April 3rd, 2026. We'd like to express gratitude for Ms. Rosa's 20 years of service at the school district, teachers and students of Dallas Center Grimes schools. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Malmberg.
Second, Fiella.
Any discussion?
I have a question. Is there something we do as a board or school to kind of thank them? Basically, especially for, 30, just kind of curious what that looks like or if we're kind of what, yeah.
Yeah, so for the last several years, typically it's like a building level thing that they'll do. So for the teachers in different buildings, they'll find a fun way to celebrate them at the building. For some of the district level stuff, we may host something here for other buildings to come in, but right now it's more
Awesome.
building-led fun.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd just like to point out, while we're still
Yep.
on this topic, that for these 5
Yep.
individuals, that's 98 combined years of service. And I think that speaks volumes about the culture at DCG. And that's amazing.
Yep.
It's truly, truly heartwarming. So thank you all.
Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Moving along to item P, we have a choir concert that'll cross state lines. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Dickinson.
Second, Malmberg.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We have the first reading of listed policies. No new policies this time. One administrative update with changes, no primer updates, and several annual mandatory reviews with no suggested changes and nothing to consider to be rescinded. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Dickinson.
Second, Quant.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Deny open enrollment in application for KH. Looking for a motion.
Move to deny, Dickinson.
Second, Baker Curtis.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. We have 4 additional students graduating early for your consideration. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Vandervelden.
Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion?
Congratulations.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Item T, to consider the high school sculpture 2 course edition. Dr. Bloom, could you give us some additional information on this?
You bet. Greg may jump on with something specifics about this course or anything in general, but I want the board to know if a building, typically it's Oakview or the high school, want to add a course. There's a pretty good sized document that the teacher, typically with the principal, will fill out. And it just has a lot of questions. What's the goal of it? How many students you anticipate? Dollars and cents, staffing. So they work through that. They work with their building principal. Then it goes to their building leadership team. So that team has to be kind of a part of the approval process, so to speak. And then we ask them to bring in Shanna and Greg. Certainly we don't want to be adding a course or changing a course that may impact standards or things like that. So then Greg and his team get involved, and then ultimately to me. So, this is kind of that process with Sculpture 2. This is about a desire for students. We've had Sculpture 1 for a while, a need to maybe offer that course. And again, what in particular for this course and many courses that we looked at, it's an offering mechanism that does not mean it necessarily will happen. We got to get the right numbers of kids. It's got to work in the master schedule and the teacher schedule. But in this case, the teacher is there. Potentially the master schedule will work out, so it won't be an add to the district other than supplies. But in Danelle Duncan, who would teach this class, if Sculpture 2 gets on the list, that means something's coming off the list, so there's probably not going to be huge dollars and cents different in terms of supplies, but at least that's the process of how it gets to you. And Greg, anything to add?
Yeah, it just matches up with, my notes here. So they have like a painting, drawing, ceramics, 1 through 4. This is adding a second level to sculpture to reflect all mediums. So maybe something down the road they want to continue to move students higher up, but it fits in line with what we're doing a note on this, so because of the order of the handbook or the course
Yep.
guide coming next, this isn't in the course guide that you're gonna consider next because it hasn't been approved by the board. So if approved at this juncture right here, it would be added, so that's a note to make that you see the course
Yeah.
guide.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, great. All right, looking for a motion.
Move to approve Baker Curtis.
Second, Quant.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The 25-26 high school course description book, maybe just a thought, could we amend the motion to include, now that the board has accepted item T, so we could amend the motion to include item T, that way you wouldn't have to bring this back to the board for another approval. So
Yep, great idea.
whoever's making the motion, if you could just include that. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve with the inclusion of item T from this agenda.
Second, Malmberg.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item V are the financial statements that Ms. Wearmouth reviewed during her update. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Vandervelden.
Second, Baker Curtis.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item W, move the December 2025 board meeting date from December the 15th to December the 17th at 5:30 PM. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Fiala.
Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion? All
And
the- go ahead.
that's with a work session that would then begin at 5.
Correct.
Just double checking.
Nope, thank you. Yep, I'll get all that once we finalize everything
Yep.
I got it.
with
Good
Tim.
memory. Yep.
Yep, you will hear from me about, because we gotta have the December 9th one, which starts the bond sale.
Okay.
Yep, so I'll have that reminder for you, the work session right before this one as well. So 9 and 17 are next on your radar. Yes, thank you. And the
Summer's
9th,
gonna
the
be-
9th will be a quick one,
Is that at 5 or 5:30?
5:30.
Okay.
On the 9th, 5 o'clock, I think Tim is good with 5 o'clock on the 17th, half hour. 4:45 or 5, okay. Okay,
Yep. December will be busy for more reason than one, but, yeah,
Yep.
a lot of board activity.
appreciate your flexibility. Yep,
If it's 4:30, it will be indicated in the email, correct?
yes, no, don't worry about 4:30. 5 o'clock right now, Tim may ask for 15 additional minutes, so I'll get potentially a 4:45 start if that's possible, but right now, yeah, 4:30 is not gonna be an option, so.
Okay.
4:45 or
I
5,
just have a gap in care for 30 minutes that I gotta cover.
you got it.
Thanks for your flexibility.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 5 pages of amazing things going on around Dallas Center Grimes for you to consider, and staff commendations. Looking for a motion.
Move to approve, Vandervelden.
Second, Dickinson.
Any discussion?
Ryan, can I say one thing? Sorry.
Yeah.
Look for the video from AJ tomorrow, Wednesday. We are running around tomorrow afternoon celebrating our November creators. So we did not add that this time because they don't know we're coming till tomorrow. So,
That's fine.
yeah.
And we also recognized all of our amazing substitute teachers.
Thank you, substitute
that
teachers. Yep,
really help our staff when they are down and out with death, sickness,
sure.
and family drama. And so thank you to all of those
Yep.
long-term subs. And
yep. Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, for sure. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, the next regular board meeting will be December the 17th at 5:30 PM with a work session preceding that meeting as well. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, Dickinson.
Second, Vandervelden.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.